Not a real veteran. Stop pretending. It's honestly disgusting. Karen's voice rang out like a slap across the face in the middle of the HOA meeting, every head in the room snapping toward her as if pulled by gravity. The community center's fluorescent lights buzzed above us, but it was nothing compared to the silence that fell after her accusation. Update 4. The order was approved and would be enforced immediately. Karen could no longer contact me, approach my property, or interfere with my professional or personal life in any capacity. A separate notice from the DA's office informed her that she was now under formal investigation for criminal harassment and obstruction. She had crossed the line so many times it no longer existed. But the final blow wasn't delivered by me, the military, or even the legal system. It came from her own peers, the community she had tried to manipulate and control. One of her former allies posted a heartfelt message thanking me for my service and apologizing for not speaking up sooner. Others followed suit. The very people Karen had counted on to back her up were now standing with me, not because I asked them to, but because they chose to. Karen, once the self-proclaimed queen of the cul-de-sac, had been dethroned. Not by revenge. Not by aggression. But by truth, accountability, and the one thing she never expected: quiet, patient resilience backed by ironclad authority. And as I stood on my porch once again, watching a new HOA banner being raised, a banner that honored veterans and community service, I couldn't help but think that maybe, just maybe, the fight had been worth every silent step. The next HOA meeting was unlike any that had come before. There was no bickering, no self-righteous posturing, and no Karen with her binder full of delusion sitting at the head of the table. Instead, the room felt alive with quiet anticipation, a sense of collective relief, and cautious optimism. Chairs were filled. Neighbors who hadn't attended meetings in years were suddenly present, some out of curiosity, others simply to make sure the madness had truly come to an end. I took my seat near the back, not out of habit, but out of choice. I didn't need a front row view. I already knew how this story ended. The new interim president, a retired firefighter named Bill, opened the meeting with a short, no-nonsense statement. "Let's keep this short and civil," he said. "We've got some cleaning up to do." There were some chuckles, a few nods, and not a single objection. The first order of business was to officially ratify the vote that removed Karen from the board. The motion passed without a single dissent. Then came a motion to revise the bylaws to include strict provisions against personal harassment, misuse of HOA authority, and targeting of service members or protected personnel. That one passed too. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about making sure nobody like Karen ever weaponized their position again. When the floor opened for community discussion, I wasn't planning to speak, but a few neighbors insisted. One woman stood and said, "I think we owe Mr. James a proper thank you, not just for his service to the country, but for putting up with more than anyone ever should have to from one person." There was a short wave of applause. Then another neighbor stood and added, "She tried to tear this place apart," and he held the line, quietly, professionally, with more dignity than I could have mustered. It wasn't grandstanding. It was genuine. And even though I hadn't asked for it, the support meant something. After everything, the respect of your neighbors carried more weight than any regulation or court ruling. I stood up, slowly walked to the front, and faced the crowd, not to lecture, not to gloat, just to close the chapter. I spoke briefly, thanking them for their support, for standing up when it counted, and for understanding that serving your country doesn't end when you step off base. It continues in your communities, in how you treat people, and in how you respond.